All right, folks, welcome to another Agritechnica special episode of AgWarriors. Today, I'm joined by Craig, and I've never been able to say your last name. I know it's easy, but it always screws me up having the GN, so.
Ganssle.
Ganssle.
That's it.
Craig Ganssle.
Yep.
Why is it spelled so crazy?
I don't know. It was changed by ancestors when they came to the U.S., so.
What did it used to be?
I don't know. My dad knows, but I don't.
Okay, so Craig Ganssle. Craig is the founder, CEO,
Yeah.
dishwasher, truck driver, whatever needs to happen. You're the
Whatever
guy.
needs to happen. Take out the trash. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yep.
FarmWave, which we're going to talk about FarmWave, which I think is a really cool technology that we're surrounded by technology here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that this is an American-born technology that we will start to see used around the world and be widely adopted, hopefully, to help farmers. But before we get there, where were you born?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk. You don't have to say when, but where were you born? And let's talk a little bit about that.
Quite a long time ago. I was born in Pennsylvania, right outside Philadelphia.
Okay.
So that's where I'm originally from.
So I was born in Pennsylvania. I didn't know you were born in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Did you know I was born in Pennsylvania? You did. Did
Yeah.
we talked about this?
A little bit.
In Brazil.
In Brazil.
Ah.
Yes.
Okay.
Which was a chaotic time, so I get it.
Much like this. I
Much
mean,
like this.
we're going to find a time where it's not chaotic to
I don't
talk,
know.
and hopefully, and maybe we'll remember that. But
Yeah.
So, born in Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
just outside of Philadelphia. Are you an Eagles fan?
Of course I am.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Eagles and Phillies. I'm a Philly sports sufferer.
Well, you deserve that, and the Sixers and the Philadelphia Flyers.
Yeah.
You're the whole quartet.
The whole thing. Yep.
I almost feel like I should end this now because
Right.
I'm not an Eagles fan, but we beat you this year, so.
Yeah.
So born in Philadelphia, or born just outside Philadelphia, grew up there.
Yeah. Grew up there. High school, graduated, and from there went right in the military. So,
Right from there. So what did your parents do?
Yeah. My mom was really a homemaker. My father worked in the airline industry. I mean, originally my father worked at Bethlehem Steel Corporation, which went under in the 80s.
Yep.
As most people know. But my father was in the Air Force prior to, meeting my mom, and he was a mechanic on fighter jets. And then he went to the airline industry. And so he did 30-some years at United Airlines.
As a mechanic.
No, actually, even though he was a mechanic on fighter jets, not a mechanic there. He was a director of customer service and operations. Yeah.
Interesting. So where was he stationed?
All over, most notably Alaska. Yeah.
Okay.
He was up in Alaska for years. He loved it there.
Would that have been kind of Cuban Missile Crisis time?
A little bit more Vietnam.
Vietnam?
Yeah.
So that was after the Cuban Missile
Yeah.
Crisis. And so your dad served.
Yeah.
Did you always know that you wanted to get into the military?
I did. Yeah. My dad was Air Force. His brother was Air Force. My grandfather was Army. And I think they all thought I might follow in those footsteps, but I went in the Marines.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little bit different. Air Force, Army. I'm going to join the Marines.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why the Marines?
I wanted the challenge. And actually, during COVID, I wrote a book with 3 other Marines. It's an anthology called Veteran Grit. And I tell the story in there of kind of why. And I picked the Marines. Wanted the challenge, but the short version was in high school, of all the recruiting stations there outside the cafeteria, everybody had fancy posters and all that kind of stuff. And, I kind of went up to them and was like, so I know what the others got going on, posters and T-shirts and swag. You guys have a pen and a clipboard, right? I'm like, kind of like, what are you guys selling? And they're like, we sell ourselves. And I mean, they were just straight-faced, and they were like, if you think you can be part of this, the first step is from you to put your name on that clipboard.
No T-shirts.
No T-shirts, nothing. And that was like, that just stuck in my head. And I had heard from other family members the challenge, how hard the Marines are. And I just wanted to prove, not to really anybody but myself, that I could do it. So.
Interesting. So what was boot camp like? Like, for somebody, I mean, we're in Germany.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I'm an American. I believe we're the greatest superpower in the world. I think our armed forces are the greatest in the world.
Yep.
The Marines are a big part of that. What is it like to go through boot camp? Like, walk me through that first 6 months of the Marines.
It's, everybody thinks about how physically challenging it is. And it is, right? Especially boot camp, 13 and a half weeks, getting screamed at, yelled at, up early, it is physical. But you learn, less than halfway through that it's 90% mental, right? And that was a big part of this book that I mentioned that myself and 3 other Marines wrote, is all 4 of us entrepreneurs, and how the Marine Corps really spurs that entrepreneurial journey, never giving up, right? The grit to make it through everything. And it's difficult for sure, very hard physically, but mentally is where it's at. And when you come through it, the Marine Corps just celebrated on Monday their 250th birthday. And, the saying of once a Marine, always a Marine is definitely true. Like Monday, I'm texting all kinds of guys, happy birthday, brother, Semper Fi. Like it's just there forever.
Right.
And you really carry it through in an entrepreneurial journey, that mindset.
So are there other Marines involved? Have you partnered with other Marines?
I've hired other Marines.
You've hired other Marines.
Yeah.
Is that because you know what they're made of?
Yeah. I do, but I also know, as you know, in this industry, there's challenges. It's hard. It's a rough, tough industry. And you want guys that aren't going to back down from it. Because I've had some employees that have backed down. Like, hey, the ag thing is not for me. This is tougher than I thought, or whatever. And I've had Marines that are just like, I got this. They just keep going.
So, I mean, and nothing that you've told me so far explains how you got into agriculture, because you went, Dad worked for the airline, Mom was a homemaker. You lived obviously where steel was made, because everybody in Pennsylvania, Johnstown, coal and steel.
Yeah.
Agriculture?
My great-grandparents were the last to farm, and they had a 90-acre farm in Pennsylvania. I think most people call that a garden.
Right. It depends. In Saskatchewan, that is a garden.
That's a garden in Saskatchewan, right? So they were the last to farm. I did get to know my great-grandmother. She lived to be 101, but it was not an operating farm at that point. It's just where I went. Me and my dad would hunt there. But that was the last generation of my family to farm. The rest were steel workers, engineers, like that. And yeah, I did 8 years in the Marines.
Did you join the Marines?
95 or 94.
94, right out of high school?
Yeah.
So then we must be close to the same age, because I graduated in 94.
Yeah.
Was you the same year as you?
I graduated in 95. I joined in 94 in the delayed entry program.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So I'm older than you?
Probably by a year.
Yeah, okay. Anyways, so right away into the Marines.
Straight into the Marines.
That's why you said 1995.
1995, yes. So I was what's called a 2531. I don't think that even exists anymore as a military occupational specialty. I was a radio operator, basically a grunt with a radio on his back. But doing communications technology, I actually worked with artificial intelligence in 1995, in the 90s, in the Marines. So it's this huge buzzword today, and everybody's scrambling and trying to do something with AI. And my story goes all the way back to the 90s working with it.
Right, so that would have been 30 years ago you were involved with AI in the Marines.
Correct.
That's crazy. I wonder what they've got today that we don't even know about, that in 30 years we'll be like, no shit, it's a big deal.
Probably. You're probably right. Like, it's crazy. But, I was going to do an entire career, but after 8 years, I had a heart condition. And I was medically retired from the military, so discharged.
Like going through training, or how did they recognize that a heart condition?
Yeah, it was actually during the annual physical certification that they found it, and they were like, automatic disqualifier, you're done, go home.
Really?
That was it, yeah, just like that.
How devastating was that?
And I was crushed.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I going to do now? Like, I had planned 20 years, retire, then probably do something in tech. I was like, what?
8 years. And where had you been? Where had your military career taken you up to that point?
Yeah.
Because you would have been there during 9/11.
No, I got out. I literally was discharged 2 months before 9/11.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting. So where did you all go?
Yeah,
What's the
Lejeune,
coolest place?
Lejeune, Pendleton, 29 Palms, Barstow, Fort Carson, a bunch of other places I can't tell you, but
Right.
that was, yeah.
Bunch of typical, right? You were using AI 30 years ago, so
Yeah.
of course you can't talk about it. I need to have somebody on this podcast that's like, I'm going to talk about it, but okay. So that's
Yeah.
the first time in the history of this podcast that somebody has said something like that. That's a stunner. So, and as a radio operator, obviously, if you can't tell me where you were probably doing some other things you also can't tell me about.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. And I'm just sitting here thinking, there's just no way you're going to. So how much do we actually know of what goes on? Do you think, like, what percentage wise? Do we know 30%, 40%, 70%, 10%?
I think maybe 15%.
15%?
Yeah, if I'm throwing out a wild guess.
Okay. All right. I'll take that percentage. What, so we started to dive into agriculture. So in the Marines,
Yeah.
get out of the Marines, medically discharged.
And
Now what?
Yeah, I landed a job at Verizon on the wireless side, and I was there for 15 years as an engineer.
Okay.
So, yeah.
How as an engineer, you didn't have schooling?
The military. I mean, worked on computers and tech and radio systems in the military, so that transferred, and I just did that at Verizon.
So you're basically an engineer by experience because you had to
Yes.
work on all of that.
And then
Cool.
I started at Verizon, and then I started going to college. So I had,
While you were working full time.
yeah, because I had Montgomery GI Bill plus Verizon had a really great tuition reimbursement program. So I I utilized all that to put myself through school, and started out with a business administration degree. And after about my first 4 years at headquarters up in New Jersey, they were like, hey, do you want to get back out in the field? And before they could even say field, I was like, yes.
You wanted out of the
Cubicle, like
Yeah.
out. And so they asked me about moving to Georgia, and that's how I ended up in Georgia over 20 years ago. I moved to Georgia in 2005, and I was basically worked out at the cell towers, routing and switching, Cisco certified engineer, expanding the network, building the network.
building the network out. Was that all across the country, or was that
Mostly Southeast, just Southeast.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And I laugh because I could just picture you being like, yes, get me out of this damn office.
Get me out of the office. Yeah.
So 15 years of Verizon?
15 years of Verizon. Yep. And towards the end, started my own company because Verizon was a good company to work for, but I had lots of ideas of things I wanted to do. I wanted to move fast. I wanted to fail fast. And when you're in a large corporation like that, it's kind of hard to do that with things. But I launched my first company. It's a non-competing business, building not cellular, but Wi-Fi networks, like high density, large scale.
Yep.
So Wi-Fi over cities for IoT, college campuses, stadiums, things like that.
Were you using like fiber optic wireless routing, or what were you?
Fiber optic, a lot of Cisco Meraki hardware, wireless access points, bridge networking, things like that.
And does that company still exist?
Yeah, Meraki got acquired by Cisco, still around. Yeah, Cisco's probably one of the most known wireless companies, but
So you sold that company then?
I sold that company in 2018, but that's partially how I got into agriculture. So one of the big seed companies asked us to put Wi-Fi over their research farms. So we did that down in Florida, Minnesota, and California. We would cover like 90-acre research farms in full 150 megabit download Wi-Fi.
Smart. So because they needed the Wi-Fi to be able to...
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But those relationships came from one guy in Georgia named Bruce Reza, who was a farm kid from Missouri, but sort of left the family farm. He worked at like IBM, and he did some time with marketing at AGCO. And he found me because in my first company, I had some relationships with Google. And I was the first person in the state of Georgia to get, do you remember years ago, the Google Glass?
Yeah.
Yep. I got a pair. Google asked me to come up to New York, try it out, provide feedback. And Bruce heard about this, and he reaches out to me, and he's like, I know you don't know me at all, but I want to go to, I'm going on this trip to Africa, to farms. Can I take your pair of Google Glass? And I'm like, who is this guy? What?
Did you let him take them?
I did. I got approval from Google. He was like, I'll write you a check for twice the amount. If it comes back, any scratch on it you don't like, you can cash that check. Like you.
Wow.
So
that was probably, what year would that have
2013.
Yeah, I was going to say that was a while ago, 10 or 12 years. That's my, wow.
So long story short, he comes back, everything's fine. We develop this friendship. He learns about what I'm doing. And we both get invited to this John Deere Developers Conference, ask if we can bring Google Glass. And
why?
Just they have a developers conference, and they're kind of like wanting to showcase latest and greatest tech.
Yeah.
Not many people had glass at the time. And so I took it. And this is kind of what spurred FarmWave, was people put it on, and they would use their voice to tell it to take a picture and then send it to somebody.
Yeah.
And I asked, not growing up on a farm, why would you do that? Like, what's the importance of that? And, crop consultants and agronomists were telling me, take a picture of a crop, pathogen, pest infestation, send it to somebody, have them tell you what's going on, and tell you what to do. And I asked the question, why don't you have that picture tell you what's going on? Thinking back to, I did this in the military with imagery in AI in the 90s.
Which you can't talk about.
Which you can't talk about.
Yeah.
So why don't you have the picture tell you? And everybody looked at me like, what? What are you talking about? Have the picture tell us. I'm like, use image recognition and vision computing to basically analyze the image
and tell you
what you're looking for. What are the classifiers that you're looking for? And that's how it began.
So when you had the idea in 2013,
yeah,
how long did it take for that idea to be like?
We had the first app working on Google Glass in 11 months.
How'd you do that?
A lot of talented coders and late nights and coffee.
And how did you fund it?
The first investor from one of our board members that put funds in wrote a small check, seed angel type investment, and that was how we did it. Some of my own money, his money, and it was a really light app that worked on Google Glass, but you could have it take a picture and it would diagnose pathogen pest infestation. When word got out, we had universities, research institutes wanted to help provide imagery data sets to build out our library.
Because that's what it needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So the University of Georgia, University of Illinois, Purdue, INRA in France, all started submitting libraries of imagery to help us build this out.
That kind of cooperation's rare.
Very, very rare. But it kind of told us, it spoke volumes to this industry and its desire for this level of technology.
Right. Because everybody was trying to help you, so there must be something here. So that was 2013, 14.
Yep.
And at that point, you were taking pictures of crop.
Yes.
Company was called FarmWave?
Yes.
Take a picture of a crop, diagnose what's wrong with it. When did it start to change? And why?
So it started to change when Google Glass was great, but it was a novelty, right? It was this $1,500 pair of glasses with like a 20-minute battery. Like, it was not going to be something farmers were going to buy. It wasn't very rugged. It was fragile and easily breakable.
Yep.
So it was a novelty, but we were like, we've got to move this to the mobile device. So we moved it to mobile, iOS and Android. And
what year was that?
That was 2014, 15.
Okay.
We had a couple thousand users using it, a lot of people trying it. Heavy usage in with smallholder growers in developing countries, India, Pakistan.
Yep.
But they were growing crops we didn't have AI models for. So
You had no library.
there was not really a library. And
Yep.
then, your typical row crops in North America and other parts of the world, corn, beans, wheat, etc. People would use it, but most of those farmers, like, they've been farming so long, they kind of already knew what they were looking at. So
it didn't help them to the same level it would be if you were growing corn for the first time.
Right.
Or
right. Yeah.
first 5 years.
So it was like a nice to have. It was kind of like an assistant, but wasn't really needed. There wasn't a big value proposition.
Right.
Amongst the vision-based AI to like look at pathogen and pest infestation, we also built counting sequences, like count wine grape clusters, tell you how many grapes are on the vine, tomatoes,
Why is that important?
yield prediction,
Right.
looking at yield, stuff like that,
So-
colorization, time to pick,
You-
those kinds of things.
You taught FarmWave to do that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's ridiculous. I had
Yeah.
no idea. I thought you were mostly focused on harvest loss.
Well, the harvest loss came when one of the things for yield prediction was you would count the kernels on an ear of corn. And I asked, how do you do this now? And people they hold it, they take a Sharpie and they count, right? Well, it's July, your hands are sweaty. Have you tried to I've tried to do this and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yep.
So again, I asked, what if you could hold this up in front of Google Glass or your mobile device, take a picture, rotate it 180 degrees, take another picture. It counted all the kernels in less than 2 seconds and it was over 90% accurate. So we did that. And that was when I learned about harvest loss and thought, could we apply these counting algorithms to counting grain on the ground or coming out of the back of a combine?
What year was that?
2017.
Okay. So that's a lot of pivoting and a lot of change from 2013 to 2017.
A lot.
Was it pivoting and changing because you saw different opportunities? Was it pivoting and changing because what you had initially thought wasn't going to be as valuable or monetized as you thought? Or what was the...
It was kind of both. Like, we didn't see the value proposition in the handheld app as much as we thought would be there. And along the journey, so many people reached out, like, could you build an AI algorithm to do this? Everything from, Asian pears to...
Which is crazy.
Like,
I mean,
wheat seedlings.
we always forget how big the world
Right,
is
yeah.
and how many different things are growing around the world.
Oh, yeah. So we started, getting all these inquiries, and we learned about harvest loss. And I think it was an engineer at John Deere that said, if you could figure that out, you'd be solving one of the top 3 or even top 2 requested features farmers are asking for on combines.
Yep, 100%. I mean, loss is significant.
It's
and
more than anybody realizes.
It's significantly more, and
Yeah.
it's worth so much more than what people realize. I mean, I just got back from Brazil, and a sack per hectare in Brazil is like 16 billion reais, which is like $4 billion US dollars in soybeans every year.
Right.
That's life changing.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's country changing. It's world changing.
it is.
So what year? So 2017 is when you started working on loss.
We built the first prototype, yeah.
When did you have a working prototype?
2018,
2018?
yeah, was the first prototype. And 2018, 2019, now that I think about it, yep. Because we went down to Brazil. We were invited down by an OEM to Brazil in 2019 and into 2020. And that was our first prototype that we took down there.
How did it work?
So it worked well from an AI perspective.
Yep.
Hardware was like, we were using hacked GoPros, batteries, like things that we could get it on the machine and take it off really quick so we weren't disturbing the farmer because they got to go. Like, how it is in Brazil. Like, they got to go. So the hardware was like definitely prototype-ish, but the AI was working well. And we even then also tried different, like a C-mod mount on a GoPro for a zoom lens that we put on a sprayer to go across the field and repurpose that mobile app software to see pathogen pest infestation on the sprayer. It worked, but again, hardware limitations, very prototypish.
So do you feel like you've had, or it sounds like you've had software all along. You've had the AI, you've had that, and it's always been a hardware thing.
It's always been a hardware thing. Yeah, we of course refined the software, the user interface,
of course,
right, the platform, the AI.
As technology continues to improve.
Make the models smarter every year.
Yeah.
And that's always been our main focus. So we don't actually manufacture our hardware, it's through partnerships.
Okay. Yeah. So 2019, you get a prototype going.
Yep.
Testing, changing. When did you decide to bring this to market?
Well, we wanted to bring it to market in 2020, but then COVID happened. So that didn't work. And, you know, we went, like everybody, we went through a rough patch because of COVID. All our projects got canceled, you know, travel bans. And you know how much you got to travel in ag, right? You got to go where things are being harvested.
Well, and software, like your software, hardware, you have to go meet people and you have to have developers and all these things.
Yeah.
So how much Marine's grit did it take to get through that?
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did.
Because that would be like a stomach punch. You just start rolling.
Yes, it was a big one.
Yeah.
So we made it through. We did some side projects in manufacturing with AI because manufacturing couldn't stop.
Yeah.
But, you know, mostly been funded by high net worth individuals that continued to believe in us and helped us wade the storm and see it through. Got about as lean as you can get, right?
Yeah.
But, and kept kind of iterating in, you know, during that downtime on the hardware.
So you built basically your investor pool of people that believe in you. And how many rounds have you had to go through?
Well, because we started out mostly being funded by high net worth individuals, we didn't really look at them as rounds. It was just like when we needed some funding, they put some extra in.
Right.
So in 2022, we brought on our first institutional finance partners.
Yeah.
And that would have been considered like a Series B.
So what was the decision like there to go out? Because that's, I mean, lots of people are really afraid of bringing in institutional financing. How did you come to that? Did you have some people along the way that were like, hey, have you thought about this? Or talk a little bit about that.
You know, when you're dealing with hardware, there's a huge expense there.
Yep.
Right. So we knew that we needed some fuel in the tank to see this through. But years of conversations, prototyping, and the things that we've tried, we knew there was something here. And we knew that it had a great deal of value. There were some people at the USDA that helped us actually come up with those numbers, looking at the total addressable market based off our prototypes and the early R&D we did, seeing anywhere from 3 to 8 bushels per acre. Maybe you cut that down the middle, say 5. What those numbers meant to the corn, beans, wheat market in just the United States, they were in the tens of billions.
Right.
And so when you extrapolate that worldwide in all the crops, you're like, there's definitely a value proposition here.
Yeah.
And that was when we started learning loss is more than people realize.
Way more.
Mostly because they don't get out and check.
Well, I mean, even if you get out and check, so let's say you get out and you look on the ground for corn.
Right.
The way to do it, or beans, is you count all the full kernels.
Right.
Or you count the beans. Let's say you use a drop pen.
Yep.
It's the same thing. You're weighing it, measuring it, however you're doing it, but you have to get out.
Right. You have to
At
stop.
some point, you have to stop. And a lot of guys aren't willing to do it. And then the other part of that is they're only counting full kernels.
Right.
Guys get paid on everything.
Yeah.
Everything they lose.
Right.
And so that's why it's such a
Yep.
crazy big thing. So 2022, you brought on some investment.
Yep.
It's now 2025.
Yeah.
Where are we at today? Are you brought to market? You're moving these around. What's it like?
Yeah. So the the interest has been global.
Of
People
course.
reaching out. Hey, does this work in this crop? Does it work on this machine? You know, we've explained that we're completely third-party aftermarket retrofit, so it works on any make, model combine. And, you know, it works in your major crops: corn, beans, wheat, edible beans, peanuts, cotton. We just started canola this year, like beta the first time.
How'd it go?
Okay. It's tough. It's the hardest problem to solve forever. It's so small.
Right.
And we're only going to see combine loss, not header loss. But to see something the size of canola seed flying out of the back of a machine, it's really difficult.
I bet.
So it works. It's not that accurate. Maybe 20, 30% accurate right now. But we still get such a positive response from farmers, especially up in Canada. They're like, that's 20, 30% more accurate than I have now because I have nothing.
Yeah.
And to your point, they're like, if I got to get out and drop another pan or hand count or get one of my operators to do it, like,
Well, you can't hand count canola.
Right.
Simply put, it's
yeah,
too small.
Yeah. So
Never get it.
it's like, even if I can just look at the picture from in the cab and see it, they're like, and without stopping, they're like, that's enough.
So you're basically, the way the system works is it takes a picture as it's going out the back,
Yep.
or a picture at the head.
Yep.
And you're using AI to decipher that picture and provide real-time results to a monitor that a farmer can then say, this is what I'm losing.
Yeah. Every 3 seconds, the cameras take a picture and they analyze the AI in sub-second,
Yeah.
and you see that on a tablet in the cab.
Wow.
We do it about 300 times per acre hectare without ever stopping.
What's bigger, header loss or combine loss?
Depends on the crop,
Corn.
combine. There is a good bit header loss that even FarmWave can't detect because it's under all the trash. We
Right.
see a lot of shatter loss or cobs, but so there's still more there in corn. Wheat, definitely a combine.
Beans.
Beans, a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Beans is can be either or.
50-50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Same with edible beans, soybeans, yeah.
Yeah. Any bean is the same way.
Yeah.
It depends how, like lentils, it's probably more header loss than combine loss.
Right.
Typically.
Yeah.
So what's next for FarmWave? Like, you're here, you're in Germany. I'm sure you're talking to people about it.
Yeah.
I saw you in Brazil. That's the first time we really had a
Right.
chance to meet and talk
Yeah.
about it. How many have you sold? Like, you're selling it. You're full bore selling worldwide.
We are, and all sales to date have really been by word of mouth. We've never had like a sales team, marketing team. So that's next.
God, if you could only figure out where you could find one.
Right.
Yeah, geez.
So that's really next. But continuing to scale and grow. From a technology perspective, 2026, we're going to launch some pretty cool features. Remote monitoring, alerts coming from the tablet based off losses seen to somebody else. Recommendations. So live recommendations in
Yep.
the cab of what to do. But our big goal is by the end of 2027, we are interfaced with the machine, talking to it, making those adjustments autonomously without human intervention
On the fly.
on the fly.
So your camera, based on loss, based on moisture, based on yield, will, by the end of 2026, be making recommendations, and by the end of 2027, be changing the machine.
Yes.
That's damn cool.
So based off the make model machine, make model header, crop, moisture, header or combine, it'll start making those adjustments autonomously, tracking them, remembering where they occurred,
Yeah,
logging the changes that were made, putting it all on a map,
you're freaking crazy.
and letting the farmer know in real time that they did it. And next year, when that combine goes through that exact same spot, it'll look for if it should make those changes again.
And concaves will obviously play into that, because each concave will do
Sure.
something different in there. But if you're running, doesn't matter whose concave it is, it'll recognize that that's what's in the machine and tell you,
Right.
oh, that's cool.
Concave, sieve settings, reel
All of
speed,
that stuff.
ground speed, header,
that.
yeah, everything.
So, wow, that's a big mountain to
Yeah, it
climb. Is FarmWave still used to identify disease, identify yield, or you've shifted everything into this?
So we shifted everything into this until now. That technology we kind of put on the shelf.
Yep.
Because we wanted to focus on this because it's an immediate value proposition to the farmer. Immediate.
Yep.
I'm losing X, make a change, save it right now.
Yep.
In the moment. But
yeah, because it does you no good if you can only identify the loss if the farmer doesn't know how to change or
Right.
solve it.
But when we partnered with Dell Technologies on the tablet,
Yep.
now you can take that out of the cab, take it with you, because it's a rugged pro tablet. So now, being that it's got cameras on it, it's a full-blown tablet. You can check your email. You can, as well as run FarmWave. We're probably going to bring back those crop scouting applications and put it on this tablet.
Yeah, it would make sense because now a farmer, he's got an agronomist but he can also take his own picture and get AI recommendations for it. That, as you were talking, that's what was in my head was like, has that stopped? But you're bringing that back now. So what's it? I mean, obviously you've got a Dell tablet. I'm sure you've got cameras that are involved. You're putting what, two in the machine, or how many cameras? How many cameras are?
The most typical is one on each side of the header and one or two on the back. So 3 to 4. It depends on the make model machine. If you got one or two on the back.
So twin rotor, you're probably putting 2.
Yeah, dual discharge, one on each side. Straight out the back, maybe one can.
And is this hitting before it goes through a spreader or a chopper?
After.
After.
In flight before it hits the ground.
So even though it's thrown at 40 feet, you're catching it off the chopper or off the spreader?
We're catching it in our AI zone, the area which is 1 square meter at a depth of about 8 feet. So if it's really far out, we won't necessarily catch it.
Right.
But it's giving you, and we're not perfect. We never will be.
But if you get to 95% or 90%, that's significant.
Right. Reduce losses by another 2 to 5% and doing 300 counts per hectare acre without stopping. You can't throw that many pans or do that many hand counts.
So if I'm a single rotor combine, which 80% of the world still is, what's it going to cost me to set up in the system? And then do I have to pay you every month?
No, it's a one-time hardware. You buy the unit, you own it per combine. It's about $15,000 US.
And that includes tablet,
power assembly, disconnect, wire harness, 3 to 4 cameras. If you have like a corn head and a bean head, you can get an extra header harness.
And then you just flip the cameras?
Yep, you just flip the cameras and that's it. So it's depending on, extra header harness, number of cameras, around 15,000.
And if you update the software or you add these crop applications, they're going to have access to that for free?
Not for free. There is an annual license cost of $1,000 US.
Okay.
But it's all in. Support, new features, updated crop models.
What about hardware failures, those kinds of things? Because I'm thinking like with technology, there's got to be where something doesn't always work right.
Sometimes, the cameras in the tablet are under warranty, 3 to 5 year. So if it's something faulty there.
Right. Not if somebody drives over it.
Not if you drive over it.
I had a guy bought concaves from us last week, and he's like, hey, rain gauge for my drop pan, I accidentally drove over it. Can you warranty that?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, we'll warranty. I mean, it's a rain gauge, right? But it's still hilarious that...
We had a guy that he kept breaking his rear camera. And we're like, we've never had these cameras break. Like, this is like Corning, like Gorilla Glass. Like, figured out it was his drop chain.
Oh, no.
When he would go down the road and change fields and pick up speed, that chain would bounce and smack, and so you replaced it once, or? We replaced it once, and then he had to replace it again. He goes, it's my fault. I figured out what happened.
So that's pretty sweet. What's the future hold? Like, where do you hope to be in 3 years from now? Let's assume it's, what's today? November 13th? Is that what today is?
Yep.
2028, what will have happened over the last 3 years that you're going to be like, this was successful time?
It'll be that interface with the machine. It's the number one that everybody asks, when will it do that?
And that's what your whole team's focused on.
That's what our team's focused on.
How big of a team do you have? Because we were talking the other day, just briefly, and you got a lot more people than I think people understand.
We've got 5 in Georgia, 1 in Wisconsin, And then we've got a team of about 8 in Croatia, development team.
Yeah.
So
you're multinational, multi-skilled, getting after it.
we are
How many Marines?
2.
2 Marines.
2. An Air Force brat.
So more military. You let one Air Force?
We did.
Yeah.
We did, yeah.
Oh, that's a full American story. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
There's 2 things I always ask. I'm very interested to hear your answers, but the 2 questions I always ask, one of them is, so I know you're 48. What would 48-year-old Craig say to 22-year-old Craig, as a life lesson? Because there's young people listen to it, my kids, etc. What would you say to a 22-year-old about, look, this is something you need to know?
48-year-old Craig would have probably told 22-year-old Craig, you're going to be working in AI in farming, and 22-year-old Craig would have been like, you're nuts. Like,
right.
No way. But everything in life really comes down to one thing, and it's how you react to situations. Now, the stigma is a bit true. Marines don't have a lot of patience and don't react well to a lot of situations. Over the years, you've heard, we've pivoted, we've pushed, we've moved, and that's been a benefit, but we did start to learn how we've got to slow down and listen to the farmers. Listen to their stories and how they're going to utilize this technology, because the canola farmer in Canada is going to use it a little bit different than the corn farmer in Iowa, a little bit different than the bean farmer in Brazil, a little bit different than the sunflower farmer in Ukraine.
Right.
It's going to be different. And, I think there's a level of patience that is required.
That's good. So it's really about patience and then controlling your reaction is what it is. The second thing that I've asked, and I've had some wild answers to this, like Rob Sharkey, his was some kind of gun. Quick Dick McDick was a sickle. We've had, weapon of choice. This is AgWarriors. So I've also had, like, Meridat was charisma. Some guy was knowledge. So, because not everybody's been a soldier, right? Not everybody's been in war. I certainly wouldn't. Mine would probably be my networking or people. But what is your weapon of choice going into a challenge or a battle?
Yeah. I'm a man of my faith, so it's prayer.
Prayer. I saw that on your wrist there. I didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Prayer.
It's definitely prayer. Yeah. Pray for wisdom.
Pray for wisdom.
And I do that every morning about whatever it is I'm getting into or going into, is just praying for wisdom. Make the right decisions with the right reason behind it, right? Here's an example. So my first time at Agritechnica, this is huge. I am kind of overwhelmed. I'm like, man, there's companies here I never even heard of, right? So there's a lot of different opinions. We've got to stick to our core that what we're building is for the farmer, the farmers first. So praying for wisdom that what we build and what we do is to impact the farmer.
How important is your faith to you? That's one of the things that...
it's key.
When did you become a Christian?
Years ago. Yeah. It wasn't like a day and time for me type thing.
Right.
It was evolving thing. Starts in the military. Somebody's always praying in the military. See some of the things that we see or go through some of the things that we go through. Yeah. There's no atheist in a foxhole, as they say.
There's no atheist in a foxhole. That's very interesting.
But
wow.
Yeah. No, my faith is it's key and core to everything that we do. So.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming.
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
and by the way, AgWarriors, I love that name. I love it, man. That's awesome.
Well, I wanted something like show the battle, like.
And it's a battle, man. You got to be a warrior in this industry.
It's so hard. It's so hard, man.
It's hard.
And we're challenged all the time. All of a sudden, there's tariffs, and there's corn prices, and China isn't getting along with.
And there's COVID.
And there's COVID. Right. I mean, it is really, really hard. And I wanted to create a platform for people like you or other people to come and be like, man, I had the coolest guy on this week. He's 32. His dad died during COVID.
Oh man.
At that point, they had 1,000 workers in the Ukraine, right? In 2021, his dad passes away, gets sick from COVID, and his 27-year-old has to go and run this now. 27 years old.
Jeez.
And then Russia attacks the Ukraine
Yeah.
a year later. Could you imagine? Like he told me he's got a plan I mean, right now they've lost 160 workers that have been mobilized to go fight. 10 of those have passed away. Like you just don't even think about the shit that's out there.
This is not something that crosses your mind. Like,
no, we're in a battle. Like being an entrepreneur, being in business, super hard.
Yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things,
like when we were looking for a display, a tablet for our results, and I was like, hey, it's got to withstand this environment. Like, it's got to work in the dust and dirt. It needs to be able to be dropped. It needs to be able to, be in a moving machine that's bouncing up and down, all this. And the Dell Pro Rugged team was just like, we got you.
Right.
And I was like, can you fit this kind of RAM processing and storage in it? And they're like, yeah. And we were like,
already in the military.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's probably
was
somewhere. Yeah. Like,
probably.
no problem.
Yeah. So they've been a big key partner to us.
Because it's all about people. Who have been the big people that aren't involved in FarmWave, have literally no connection at all originally? Like Dell obviously is involved in FarmWave now, but who are the people that were like, I'll help you?
I mean, definitely our investors.
Yeah.
These guys believed in the company and in me. Some of them don't even come from agriculture, like one's in healthcare, and he's just like, I don't even know what you're talking about, but I can hear it in your voice, right? Like, and supported me. Dell, definitely a big critical one, right? But farmers like Adam Hinkle, Jacob Smoker, Jason DeKevers, up in Canada, like Chris Allum, Jason Fleischacker. These guys are farmers that are like, I'm going to help you tackle canola.
Right.
And I was like, awesome. Just they buy into it to even help us get it to where they can use it, right?
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah.
Well, man, I wish you the best, Craig.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's so good to see you again. Like, we never see each other in North America. Do you realize that?
Straight up. Like, we Agri show, we run into each other. We go sit down. It's friggin' 1,000,000 degrees out there, and we had a pop. You don't drink either, I think, right? Or
no, I don't drink alcohol either. Yeah.
So we had a pop, and then
Germany. Yeah.
Here we go. So where are you going to next? I'll just meet you there.
Yeah.
What's next?
Gonna be South America again. Harvest is coming up in a little bit.
When are you going?
January.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, January. Yeah. So I probably won't even see you in North America again. Probably see you in South America.
Let's see. I don't have any shows that I'm doing in North America, in the United States before I'm going to Brazil.
Yeah.
So
we're getting into the holidays. I think things slow down.
Do they for you?
In North America they do.
Yeah.
But not everywhere else. No.
No, 100%
Australia just kicked off harvesting.
Literally.
Right. So our team, the groups that we work with down there, and then January, Argentina, Brazil. Yeah.
Let's go. Bora bora.
That's right.
Awesome.
All right, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks.